Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 114, and today we're going to be jumping into the Gauntlet. And so we have qualified for seasonals in our previous video. Spoiler alert: we did manage to get the glories, the necessary final battle wins to qualify for seasonals. And so here we're just kind of going in and practicing for the future events. This is one of the kind of higher quality gauntlets, given that people trying to qualify for seasonals are all going to be out here battling, and this is the only chance we'll get to play best of three before seasonals rolls around next weekend. And so I do want to dive into this again, and so if you caught our previous video, feel free to just go ahead and jump into the gameplay, because I'm going to go back and talk about our lineup a little bit more and the decks a little bit further as well. And so if you didn't catch the last video, we are battling with Draven, Sion, discard midrange, Illaoi, Jarvan, Illaoi Rally as I like to call it, and Poppy Bard. This is still the same names on here. There is no Galio in our Poppy Bard list. It's just Poppy Bard. But the idea with the lineup and what we're bringing is we're just going to ban Aphelios. Ideally, this is going to be one of the kind of more popular decks. Our matchups against it are fine, but they aren't spectacular. And I think this is one of the decks that a lot of the better players are just going to be bringing to the format. And so I don't want to just be playing a bunch of coin flip matchups against good players and what is one of the better decks in the format. And so the idea is that we're just going to ban it. That opens up a lot of the strategies that we can come forth and battle with. Now, the second piece of that equation is the second chart here, this ban Ahri or control if there's no Aphelios. These are the decks we may end up having to ban, right? If our opponent brings what the Mastering Runeterra guys called the best lineup in the format, if they bring out the Ahri Bard, the Aphelios deck, and then... what was their last one? It's slipping my mind, but it wasn't one of those two. You have to come out and ban the Ahri Bard. And so our matchups against Aphelios Zoe aren't as horrible to where we can't play it. We're just ideally not going to. But if we run up against a list playing Ahri Bard, if they're playing Heimerdinger Jace, if they're playing Tribeam Ezreal, we have to just pivot over and ban that. But ideally, we just won't play against those matchups, right? We'll just high roll out of them and then be able to ban the Aphelios Zoe. The next section here are a few decks that I did actually want to call out. You do see like a little bit of things like Ashe LeBlanc. You do see a little bit of things like Thresh Nasus. These matchups are not good, but I wanted to keep those kind of separate from the Ahri and control section, right? You see a lot of Ahri Bard. You see a lot of Twisted Fate Annie. Those are like the two of the most three popular decks in the format. We're going to have to ban those out frequently, but these off-meta decks we may not be as frequently seeing. And so we do have to take note of things like Ashe LeBlanc that just murder our lineup. And we want to kind of keep note that these may be potential ban targets if things come up. Now, the big and good reasons to be playing this deck is the stuff we want to play section. This is really focused in on the kind of like two things that I really wanted to do with this lineup were just ban Aphelios, and then I also wanted to have decks that were good against scouts. I think these are going to be the two really common decks of the format, and as our matchup table shows down here, our scouts matchups are pretty good. Now, granted, some of these numbers are a bit skewed. Some of the data is a little bit old, so it doesn't really hold. The new Zap Spray Fin inspired light tech, and then the small sample size with a lot of these decks. But even if we just kind of like straight out cut 10% off of the win rates, then we still all have pretty solid win rates across the board against scouts. So that's idea number one. Excuse me, we're still pretty good against a lot of the big decks of the format. The aggro Annies of the format, the Poppy Bards, we all have pretty good matchups here. Nami Twisted Fate is a big one to have a good matchup against, and so I'm pretty happy with this matchup table. And then the last thing to call out are the other relevant matchups. These are the big meta decks that I don't intend to ban, but we may have to kind of dance around. The Talia Lissandras and the Sundisks of the world. Poppy Taric, which Mage and Bay really popularized over the past week. Not really looking to ban these out, but it is important to kind of note the strength of these decks. If we run against the triple Demacia lineup of Poppy Taric, something with Bard, and then Scouts, we need to know that we can, we can probably want to ban out this Poppy Taric and then deal with the other Demacia decks. And so that is the idea with the lineup. To go to the decks real quick, we played the really burn-heavy version of Draven Sion. We played the full 3 Mystic Shots, 3 Get Excited, 3 Nox and Fervors, and then we played the full 3 Reborn Grenadiers. This is just to really punch in the damage in the early game and then go over the top with burn. So we're only playing like 1 copy of Lost Soul. We aren't playing too heavily into the value package. Then with our Jarvan Illaoi Twisted Fate deck, we are playing all of the tentacle cards, and then on top of that we just have the minor Demacia package of Bright Steel Protector and Petricite Broadwing, and then last but not least we're playing the big utility package out of Demacia, being the 2 single combats, 2 sharp sights, 2 cataclysms, 2 Shield of Durandi, 2 golden Aegisuses, and 2 concerted strikes. And so all the power of Demacia just paired up with tentacles. Last deck, Poppy Bard. This is the one I'm trying to really get stat heavy and stay low to the ground with. I'm looking to really outstat a deck like Scouts. And so we're playing the full 3 copies of Vanguard Bannerman, and then the 4 rallies to take advantage of it. So we have the 3 Golden Aegisuses, 1 Relentless Pursuit, and then the Vanguard Bannerman to hopefully grow us bigger than all of our opponents' units, and then otherwise just some more growth style cards with the Swiftwing Flight and the Jin Vivi, looking to battle Scouts with stats as opposed to battle it with removal or board control. And so that is the lineup. Man, I forgot to check if we have to pay the pay-to-win price. Let's go right back. Let's take a peek real quick and see. I think we're pretty well set up. I know discard Draven is fully set up. In our last video, we did boost one of these tentacle cards. I think we're still good here. I think it's just champions and stuff, right? Cataclysm, you're set. All these cards look good. Hey, let me check out Bard real quick. This is everyone's favorite part of the video. You say, Bust, show me a spreadsheet and then scroll through your collection. But I think everything is good here as well. All right, we'll turn one of these champions premium for seasonals or something, but our decks are good to go for now. All right, so let's jump on in. Ruin someone's day, deny them a chance at seasonals, and jump on into the Gauntlet. Okay. So yeah, I was pretty happy with this deck, pretty happy with how a lot of this goes. And so, all right, we're up against the Elise Burn deck, Zed Hecarim, and then Nautilus. We're going to ban out the Sea Monsters. I know the Sea Monsters matchup isn't that great against a lot of what we're doing. That's the one I've listed over here in terms of the kind of off-meta decks. It's a pretty bad matchup for Draven Sion. But if you also take a look down here at this section, I just lumped all of the Hecarim decks together because all of the matchups were so incredibly powerful. So I'm happy enough to play against Hecarim anything. I would call the Elise Burn deck pretty similar to Annie Elise here, which we can reasonably handle. It's just the Sea Monsters is the only one that's bringing a particularly bad matchup. So get that one banned out of the way. He takes away our Draven Sion, and then our matchups here should look pretty good. And so I try to think of what I would worry about the most. I think having the board control elements is something I'd want to take to battle twice. And so I mean, I don't expect opponents to be playing things like the what's it called? The Noxus removal package, the Disintegrates and the Scorched Earths that really give you problems with Illaoi. And so I think we can kind of safely just get away from that. Or I'm sorry, we should play that twice. So if we do actually run into that, we kind of get an extra shot with Illaoi. But I think it should be okay. And then here, reasonable enough start. I like this kind of board control package that we're starting with here, given that the opponent has Zeds, right? And if we need to come down, try and take down a Zed with a Broadwing, we have access to it. I don't really want to be in a battle of just throwing stats back and forth with Zed. And so it would have been nice if we picked up a Tentacl Strike, but without it, we can hopefully just deal with him for a turn and then attack him down with the Broadwing. Soul Shepherd's another good target for the Broadwings, but all right, let's see if Zed comes at us. The big worry of this match. We can look to Golden Aegis our Broadwing. That should just be enough for a shutdown, right? Are we happy if we just counterspell this guy's turn? I think that sounds good. Now the question is, do we actually want to attack here, right? If we attack... Oh, he's bringing in the Zed, huh? Interesting. Just bringing in that damage. Not what I expected. It's like, give me the hook, please. Give me the hook. All right, excellent. Great turn.
A beautiful day for sailing.
Did the mathematics on Shark Chariot. It can't block, so we're good to take down the Soul Shepherd. And now we're back to this kind of same spot we were in the previous turn. We have Zed Protection and the Golden Aegis and the Shield of Durrandi. And I think we should be pretty reasonably well set. We are looking to get domed, though, right? If he plays an Ephemeral, we don't have a way to take it down before it can attack. We should be able to get some good blocks here, though, right? We got a Bright Steel Protector to shut down some of it.
You're covered.
You're left unguarded.
2 Shark Chariots coming in.
I suppose you will learn.
Okay. And then we should just be able to lethal next turn.
Nagakaburo surrounds us.
Nagakaburo surrounds us. But what's this, like 9 from Tentacles, 11, 13, 12? 12 coming in? And then we can rally into a second attack. All right. Good job, squad. Scroat squad coming at you. All right, Poppy Bard up next. Wonder if he'll switch over to the spiders. Poppy Bard is kind of in that same boat as to where it can pick on the Hecarim decks, but we have a lot more challengers, and so we're able to kind of pick those Zeds off of the board. Okay. Something like this. Keep that curve going, but look for a little bit more cheaper plays. Looks good to me. See if this bird hits something good. That's what, like, I wouldn't say worries me about the early game, but that would be kind of like the big thing, is if he's able to get his Elise rolling and we don't have anything big enough to block. But if bird hits the other bird or something, we have a pretty good chance to just shut down the Elise from that point. Nothing? Wow. I was expecting at least, like, my big worry on this turn would be House Spider, right? House Spider shuts us down pretty well. He does have the Elise. But if he doesn't open, we did just pick up Vanguard Sergeant. And I'm gonna prevent all the damage, right? This is a burn deck coming at us. We are certainly the control in this matchup. And so I just want to prevent it all. We're getting like super far ahead on this board. He shouldn't have an answer to Poppy, and then we can Broadwing attack down the Elise next turn. And it should just be done at that point. It's just over, you know? Easy peasy. I could see an argument for actually playing the Bannerman here, right? I'm not sure if this deck plays things like Ravenous Flock, which would be kind of annoying. But I would think if he had Ravenous Flock, I mean, we're going to look to come in and hook the Elise, and then he probably just has to flock the Broadwing, and then we should be fairly safe with the Poppy still. Okay. Didn't go how I wanted, but we're still looking pretty strong. I mean, like, typically the spells this deck plays are going to be Noxus Blast, and then they're going to play Decimates. Right? They don't usually play things like Ravenous Flock, Scorched Earth.
Let me change into something more comfortable.
And this is not a scary Elise. Our units are huge. We have a Bannerman ready to grow the squad. And so I was going to say, he can play Skitterer, but then we can still just follow up with the Bannerman. Okay. Okay. Wow, really protecting that Elise. All right, Bird, you're on board. We're just going to have to make a golden Aegis play next turn. You know, there was the there was the dude. Can we do all this? Are we gonna have to wait until next turn? Like, we can play the Squire. I was looking to see if we could Tattered Banner a unit. We're gonna be a little bit short of that. But we're still just gonna threaten down his whole board. I mean, should we have just opened? Oh, I think I like this with the Aegis. He has to like spend mana to get dudes. We'll clear out the board and then get to re-attack. Is playing Scorched Earth. Interesting. So with that in mind, do we want to save the Aegis for next turn? Right, just play Bard here and then go for a Golden Aegis next turn? I think I like it. He has to be like blocking our big units. Right, otherwise he just dies. Well, he's currently just dead anyways, but... Alright, I think we're good. Game says neg 7 onto 7. GG. Mark it a W for bust. Right. Next battle. All right, and this is a lineup I would never wish upon anyone here. We have to just ban out the Tri-Beam Ezreal, right? This is just the what we would consider to be a disaster matchup. It's got like the Taric Poppy, which is up here to the top right. The matchup tables may be good, maybe not. I don't know, but I think we have to leave it up. It's just this this Ezreal Tri-Beam, which is the real problem coming out of us here. And so a lot of our stats do look, fairly coin flippy against Twisted Fate Annie, but these Tri-Beam matchups are just way too bad. Do not expect to get out of this one alive. But I'm going to lead with the Jarvan. It's like I want to be able to play Jarvan twice. If we run Jarvan into Twisted Fate Annie and struggle against the stuns and the various full removal spells, I would like to still have a second shot with this against Poppy. All right, need a little bit better than this. We need some better tentacles for the early game. We'll get rid of the answered prayer. It was meant to be, though. the answered prayer says, "I'm the answer, bro. I'm all you need right here." Okay, this should shut down an Annie attack, though. If he wants to attack with Annie and then Ravenous Flock into our Tentacle, I'm pretty fine with that. I think he's probably just going to pass on that, though. Now, how invested into this Tentacle do we want to get? Like, we're at the spot now where we just kind of have to stop, right? We can't attack with the Tentacle, him block it with the Spiderling, and then just kill it with... just kill it with a Scorched Earth. And so let's just play it a little bit slow. Save these stats for a bit later.
Gotta go with the flow.
Looks like he's kind of preparing to disintegrate. Oh, it doesn't come in. And the Sea's voice? Okay.
Nagakaburo surrounds us.
seemed okay. All right, let's just get built up nice and strong. Nice and strong. Zap coming in, okay. We'll be ready with Jarvan next turn.
The sea is fathomless.
So he can still make like big plays onto the tentacle, right? He can still like scorched earth it. Oh, I'm gonna say if he's gonna let us open with it though, that's a big deal. And of course we draw Illaoi now. I don't think we can risk it. But right, he can say like play a Swain's Hand, whatever that one's called. He can play a Swain's Hand onto the tentacle and then follow that up with a burn spell. But looks like he's gonna have the answer. If he doesn't do a little bit more though, this will flip the Jarvan off this attack. Which is kinda cool. Nice. So we start getting those cataclysms next turn. Okay. That's kind of brutal. He's gonna ace our Jarvan now. See if he spends mana on like something irrelevant. We might want a Shield of Durandi our Jarvan. Or if he comes at him with like a Ravenous Flock. Right, because right now he needs a Scorched Earth or a Disintegrate play. And if he wants to make a Disintegrate play, it's kind of tough to do. Right, he has to have a Blade's Edge plus a Disintegrate to try and bring onto Jarvan. Double Flock, okay. Okay. So he's got Tybalt in hand with 2 cards, then he'll have 1 fresh one. Now it's a little scary in the sense we don't have... Oh, he's not dropping Tybalt. Is this really just to get the flip? Interesting. Okay. This is, I guess, a scary Tibbers. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, but Tibbers is going to kill both our Sea's Voice and our Watchful Idol. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, he doesn't play Tibbers. Okay. That's good. So we got a bunch of mana for next turn. We can protect everything with the Concerted Strike and then still open with an Eye of Nagakaboros. That was a very interesting decision. Now picking up Cataclysm as well. A lot of potential for an Illaoi kill now. I guess it's like it's a little tough in that, you know, if we go like super heavy on this Illaoi, that he can just try and take her down with something else, but all right, so we're going to be short on the Cataclysm, but our Illaoi's not going to have any damage on her. Maybe. It's just like maybe we did mess that up, given the sense that you can still make Cataclysm attacks while you're stunned. I like tunneled in there. I was thinking in my head, it's like, okay, well, we want to make this attack. I want to make a second attack with Illaoi, but if he has a way to stun her, right, like with the Tibbers, then we our attack just gets canceled. That's not how that would have worked. You can still make Cataclysm attacks with Illaoi, and so maybe we should have let the damage go onto her, but I don't know. That's scary. Just Jarvan showing up to the party. Okay, I'm ready. So we're not going to be able to Jarvan, but we will be able to try and make a Cataclysm play. Hopefully it's enough. Why didn't that heal enough? Did something wrong there.
For my father, the king.
Alright, so we're still going to get domed. Oh, shit. Alright. I think I fucked that up. I think we probably should have won that game. I mean, I think the problem there was, I'm not sure if our Illaoi would have survived the Tibbers, like just from a pure damage perspective, but I did let it slip out of my head that I could still make the Cataclysm, and that's what things went wrong there. And so probably just shouldn't have gone for the concerted strike, right? I had in my head, it's like, okay, I want a concerted strike to prevent Illaoi from taking damage, because I was afraid she was going to die on the crack back. So that's tough. We know better for the future now. All right, back to the Taric Poppy though. Again, we're in this space to where you have to kind of decide how you want to use this tentacle smash. I think we're gonna have to just like sharp sight something this turn. We'll see how this turn goes. I'm okay with him just hooking the tentacle in. As I say, I bet he goes for the value hit on the Watchful Idol, though. Get a second one down, and now we still have the 4 damage for a smash. Is that even where we want to be? Do we want to save the Tentacle Smash for Taric? Probably. I'll give that one a probably. I think if he passes, we just want to pass. He doesn't bring it, well, we're not attacking into the Bright Steel. Okay. Next turn. But now we have the smash. It's much more important to hit like a Taric or a Poppy than it is to hit one of these Fleet Feather trackers. Okay. Interesting pass.
Let us meet dark skies with bright souls.
Big boys.
We're in this together.
Right.
So the Sojourners isn't scary, like, yet, right? He's gonna have to have another card to make the Sojourners scary. He's gonna have to play Taric next turn before we really worry about this kind of thing. So I think we let this happen. I want to save the Sharp Sight in case things just start to go wrong. Right, that's not an important unit to keep, but if we're going to try and get into a combat battle with a Taric, we're gonna want to have the possibilities to boost our Tentacle. Okay. Rip Taric. That's pretty good for our team. We need an Overwhelm at this point. Like, I don't want to go in on this Golden Aegis without having an Overwhelm. So let's just roll into the next turn. Maybe we answered Prayer for 2. Is that worth it ever? It doesn't feel that great. Like, I don't want to go out of this turn without spending all of our mana, but like, I also want to have 3 mana banked for next turn, so we can say, like, play Illaoi and Golden Aegis, or we can play Sea's Voice and Golden Aegis. It's not a turn where we want to just have 7 mana. Okay. Let's spawn 2. Cataclysm, but no overwhelms. All right.
My shield is yours.
I think we're still okay. Let's just wear down this board however much we can.
Mother serpent guides.
All right, I feel pretty safe now, right? I mean, if he wants to play a Poppy or a Taric right here, we still have the Cataclysm ready to go. We have Concerted Strikes for next turn. Everything looks good. We're just having trouble closing because we don't have the Overwhelms. I think this is fine, though. Dude's hand must suck something fierce if he's out here cycling Pale Cascades. Sucks something fierce, doesn't it, bro?
Is the one true light. Deal me in.
Okay, I wanna get the stun off the Sojourners. If he's gonna come out and like follow up with Taric, this is still gonna be our problem unit. But everything still looks good here. We have interactivity if we need it. We have Golden Aegis if we need it. I don't care if we lose Twisted Fate here. This all looks fairly strong.
I see no obstacles ahead.
Okay. Now, if he wants to come back in on Twisted Fate, we still have a sharp side. Not a big deal. Shield of Durandi. Man, we just need an overwhelm so bad.
Mother serpent guides.
We have to be a little bit more careful, though. That was kind of like a scary previous turn if he was going to be presenting like a rally or something.
Today's the day I find that hero.
Do we actually let his units grow? That's a tough one. I think Poppy's fine right now. Taric is the one that we're ultimately concerned about. We can't have him like spreading all of this Sojourner damage across the board. All right, fine. Just strike with the little guy first. I don't think this deck plays barriers, but in the event that he has a barrier, you want your small unit to pop the barrier, then your big unit to strike. Okay, I think we've ground him down reasonably. He's gotta find something. Finally, the Illaoi.
Truth, Terra. Truth is no betting.
I thought they said this climb would be a challenge.
Okay. I don't want this Broadwing threatening our Illaoi. This is going to get us the flip. He only has 3 mana, so he can't be responding with like Taric or Poppy this turn. And now, like, this attack is fairly ignorable. We can throw away our 2 units we don't care about. Because he is going to get a lot of Sojourner growth, like Twisted Fate, Brightsteel Protector. Excuse me, you fought valiantly, but not what we need to finish the game, which is a 16 coming in.
No closer.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Man, we have so much mana. Okay. Then we can heal the tentacle back up next turn with Illaoi. If he has a combat trick, we have our own sharp sight. I think this is fine. Could have been like a little safer to swap it around, right? To put our tentacle in front of Mountain Sojourners or something, but oh. Much is this in total coming in? He's going to lose both of his dudes. Okay. Sure. Is that going to lose it for us? Are we too far behind now that our Illaoi's kind of messed up? That was a pretty choice draw. Not going to lie about that.
All right, team, adventure time.
We sail ever forward.
All right, Nagakaboros, do your thing.
Hammer guard.
The guilty will bend.
Okay. See if we can't finish this off. Such a scary place to be. All right. Victory is ours. Cool. So now we get to get into some kind of sweet mirror match of sorts. Let's see if Bard pops off before his units can do anything. The thing that's worrisome about this is like with that previous match with the Illaoi deck, we have the removal package, right? We have all of the various single combats of the world. Now, up against this one, it's pretty scary in that I can't single combat down a Poppy or anything, or if we don't get off to a good start, like right here, this isn't a particularly fantastic start. We want to have some interactivity with our challengers in the early game. We're going to fall pretty far behind here if we don't say like hit Bird. Need to hit Bird real bad with a start like this because they grow their units a little bit better than we do. But I feel a little safer given that he didn't have a challenger.
Where's my hammer?
Okay, okay. Now we can alter our curve a little bit if we want to play a Durandi Sculptor and then follow up with Poppy next turn.
I sculpt what others only dream of.
I demand satisfaction. Hardly fair.
All right, give me that Poppy protection.
I just know the hero's around here somewhere.
I bring clarity.
Steady hands.
No backing down.
Okay, so the thing that sucks with like this turn is gonna say you can block Poppy with Taric and then not give up his challenger. Really surprised to see him give up his challenger. I mean, I guess he can just have another one, right? But he has to be like hooking Poppy down next turn. Very suspect he didn't just eat that damage.
Who does not know the name long?
All right, he just has another challenger. Oh man, depending on how he grows that, he may not be able to take our Poppy down.
Slight adjustment.
Right, if he goes Esmuth into Taric into... No, he has a combat trick. Fuck. Okay. We've lost this game. So Poppy falls. We can't protect her with the Ranger's Resolve. Are we really stuck playing a 4 Demacia next turn? It's like our really only shot to come back in this, I think. We can see what we draw, but really kind of counting on a hook into Taric. I guess we could draw like a Vanguard Bannerman. We can use Sharp Sight. Okay.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Just like these decks play so many combat tricks, it's going to be tough to actually take down the Taric. I guess the second thing is we could look to just build up board. Taric's just gonna flip next turn. There's no two ways around that. So let's just do this.
No further.
Okay. Then we'll play bird. It's weird. We're hurting.
Slight adjustment.
Hopefully we don't waste our bird token. We're gonna draw a unit. Alright, at least we hit a unit.
You're Tarek, the Protector.
Climb well, and good luck on your journey.
Alright, let's see what happens. Oh no, is he gonna have like a concerted strike? I don't remember the removal suite this deck plays. I mean, I don't suspect this is going to work, but we need something to go right here. He's going to have like a Pale Cascade or something onto the Sojourners. But if that like fails, if he's just doing weird shit, then that gets us the opportunity to get so far ahead. At least he's like pretty far away from lethal now. He gets a no attack? Okay.
Discipline, steel.
It's a big ass Vanguard Sergeant. I did the mathematics on that one. That is a big ass Vanguard Sergeant.
To preserve beauty and protect all life.
One banner, one destiny.
All right, so taking a quick look at his board, he only has one 4-attack unit. Like, I think we're good to just send the squad.
Where's my hammer?
We're going to send everybody. We're going to hook in Taric. Again, I don't expect this to get a kill, but he is going to have to invest quite a bit of mana in trying to make this work. And then we should get a pretty big takedown here otherwise. I guess the other option would be to just hook in the Sojourners, but he's got to do some blocking here. And ideally, he's going to be trying to make some value blocks that we can just shut down with the Ranger's Resolve. I shouldn't say value blocks, some trades, like, right, the Sojourners here, 3 onto 3. Realistic chances Ranger's Resolve does a lot of work. Heal onto Taric. Okay. And didn't really expect to take down there. I mean, maybe it would have been safer just to go after the Sojourners, but...
This will not take long.
Concerted strike onto the Vanguard Sergeant. How much damage is this coming in? What's he doing? It would be like 5-8, so we can still get a kill with the Ranger's Resolve. We'll take down his Larent Protege. Okay. So ideally, we won't have to use the 4 Demacia this turn, but we'll see how this turns out. I think I need to play this matchup more. I feel like we should have just ignored the Taric, let the Taric get a good value block on something, and then take down the Sojourners, right? This is where he's going to start getting a ton of stats.
Stay focused.
That's not... Is that lethal? It says 15, so we're going to have to block the Sojourner. Fine. Fine, I tell you.
Can't stop now.
That looks more practical.
Never submit. Hope crystallizes.
Everyone okay?
16 coming at us. Might as well just block Tarek, right? Both of these units are invulnerable. Okay. All right, let's see the amount of work this Ford Demacia can do. No, not enough. And so that's tough. That one's, it's a bit on me. I feel like we still would have been struggling there at the end had we hooked in that Mountain Sojourners instead of hooking in Tarek, but it's tough. And ultimately, that's like kind of the problem with that matchup is we have to draw our cards in the right order, right? If we hit one of these curves to where we start with Bird and then have a Durandi guy and then just continue to play and build up our stats, then we do pretty okay. But the Tarek deck doesn't have to hit its cards in the right order, right? If they go to turn 4 and they don't have a Tarek or they don't have a Poppy, it's okay, as long as they're getting to kind of play on curve. And then if we don't get the chance to kind of like shut them down with our stats, then they're able to just get too far ahead. And so it's a bit unfortunate there in the terms of we had like such a just nightmare set of matchups and we still came like really close to winning it. But that one was on me. This is where like we're getting to the point here as to where I talk about, you know, there's a lot of people that play this professionally and semi-professionally, or if we were in college, I would have the opportunities to just play this for like 4 and 6 and 8 hours a day. And I don't have the opportunities to do that anymore. And so you are going to see a lot of these same decks over the next course of the week, because I'm just going to spend the next week playing these 3 decks. And so that's at least one of the spots to where I think we can hopefully like pick up a little bit. We do need to play a bit more of the Poppy Bard matchup. Maybe that's a deck I'll actually play just to get like some experience with it. But I don't like seeing lineups like that turn up. That's pretty scary. Anywho, on to the next one. Oh, right. Next battle. Tighten it up, bruh. Can't be getting those loose losses. It's tough with seasonals. I mean, you get your second loss, you're pretty much done. And so it can be a real burden. But with a lineup like this, I'm not really excited about seeing Pantheon decks show up, but I think we should be kind of okay against it. The one that actually brings me a lot of concern here is going to be the Heimerdinger Jace. That's one of those decks that we have down here in our that could be a problem type category, and then I think that we can just kind of deal with these other 2 kind of off meta decks between Pantheon, Udyr, and then whatever Bard Gnar is trying to do. So it's a Bandle City Bard, which is not as scary to me, given that they don't have rallies in a deck like that. But here, I do know that in the past, like in the previous seasonals, we were playing this Draven Sion deck directly into Pantheon, just because it tended to be our ideal matchup. I think it's where I'm going to start here today as the timer was running out. I kind of feel like if we're playing a deck twice, we probably want to just be playing our Bard deck twice, but I'm also like not super excited about the prospects of playing a Bard mirror match. But we'll see how it goes. The thing that potentially worries me coming out of this Freylord-based Pantheon deck is going to be them having some kind of Frostbite. And so if we get to the point to where we need to be counting on Sion to do some real work, they have the answers. And so I don't really suspect that they'll have the room for Frostbites. Like, they might have a copy or 2 of Three Sisters, but I would assume that he's like, well, my angle for giving Pantheon and my Fated units a bonus at this point is going to be by using the Udyr stance swaps. So I assume this is going to be kind of a slower burn style deck, if you will, as opposed to the faster combo-esque versions of Yuumi Pantheon.
My faith protects me.
Alright, he's bringing the heat. The shield breaker can come in.
Flashing light.
But we should realistically be able to chunk in a ton of damage next turn, and then we have 9 burn in hand. So we're getting really close to just ending this. We can't deal 9 this turn, but picking up Decimate gets us real close. So it's turn 4, time to start just dropping Decimates to the face. Okay. The thing you do have to watch out against these stance decks, though, is I always tend to forget about it, but you do have to worry about the Ram stance, the one that AoEs your team. We have a lot of 1 health units that we're rolling around with today, and so seeing a Ram stance come in would be pretty worrisome. But here, this is looking good. We got that 9 damage in. There shouldn't be any heal. I can't imagine this deck's playing things like Blighted Ravine. I guess they could be playing some of the Targon-based heals, but I think we're in a pretty good spot here now. No lifesteal, please. Okay, I guess he's not flipped, but it's always a disaster when this Pantheon hits lifesteal. And so we do have kind of an out in the Nox and Fervor. It's one of the reasons I do really like playing multiple copies of Nox and Fervor in these decks, is it just gives us a way to kind of bounce off of a lifesteal. But you know, you have to worry a little bit about those things. Alright, squad, let's get in there. Scroat squad coming at you, as they like to say. Sure. Even protect our Draven while we're at it. Okay. Interesting seeing Blessing of Targons come out of this thing, but unfortunately for opponents, not relevant here. GG. Alright, so I feel a little bit better now. If we say have to coin flip against a Bard deck, and then we have even a you know, less than ideal matchup of our Bard deck against Pantheon, still should leave us in a positive win ratey kind of spot. Bard, Yuumi, and Gnar. It's like, I don't know if that's supposed to be some kind of like Papercraft Dragon deck where they're trying to put the Bard chimes onto attaches. I'm not entirely sure what the concept of this deck is supposed to be. I guess we will soon find out. All right, well, let's hang on to Bird, see if we can't find some more 1s and 2s. All right, that's a nice little curve. I find Bird to be incredibly important in these Bard mirror matches as you get into the early game and try to just get a little bit ahead on stats. You really start the snowball on turn 1, having the Bird. Interesting. Bring him some Heartbreaker, am I right? Okay. A lot of times I'm not like really excited about these early trades, especially on these boards to where we have Poppy in our hand already, right? Since we have the idea that we can get an attack in and just have our Poppy grow that unit, but the small unit is just like always going to trade. So I think we might as well just go ahead and get his strength off of the board. It's just not super likely to be relevant with Poppy.
Who does not know the name Laurent?
Okay, going to go ahead and put some damage onto Stone Stackers. We can't kill it this combat, but we can kill it next combat. We're not gonna get Poppy going this turn. I want to have open attacks with Poppy. And so it's like if we play Poppy and then expect her to be able to attack afterwards, our opponent has just a ton of time to respond. Much happier about this kind of thing to where we're getting multiple proteges on the turn. We'll get Bird on the board. Bird maybe gets to grow our Poppy next turn, so then she gets to boost the protege. There's lots of good things happening out of these combats.
Run them through. Hardly fair.
Little reinforcement at the seams.
All right, looks good. Powerful spot. This is a big old gnar. Give him that. That is one mega gnar. And cool. The bonus went on to Poppy. Poro sled. Interesting.
They appeared out of nowhere.
Okay, well, we're going to take a big chunk of damage this turn, but I think we'll get to turn it around next turn with a big rally.
I have urgent news.
So we're taking 10. Okay.
Today's the day I find that hero.
All right, let's see what we can do. And another Poppy.
Needs a finishing touch.
And we're not nearly as strong as I'd like to be here. I forgot this Poppy still had the stats attached to it. It's a little scary. But and a mini morph. Are we still going to Relentless Pursuit this turn? I think we're kind of stuck having to. Because this board is just so big at this point. I guess we might be able to just like play a Poppy this turn and then hope we can open with a Relentless Pursuit next turn and get an attack in before he attacks us. Maybe that's the way to go about it.
Adventure time.
Does not feel like a good place to play that Relentless Pursuit on our previous turn. We could soak up a bit of this. So many giant units. What are these? These are not the units I was expecting to see today. Shark Trainer. Okay. Well, we have definitely gotten outstatted this game. No two ways around that. But let's take a block out on this thing. We do get some decent blocks across the boards. Let's just throw away our weakest unit. I guess the mini morph is still okay in front of this thing.
Sure you want to do this?
Kinda gross. Maybe we want it to look something like this. We'll fall to 2. He does have a pokey stick in hand, but we have to have something go right here with this kind of board. So yeah, decent chance we're just dead to pokey stick, but he's already played one, and then Gnar didn't generate one this turn. Gnar just made this one cheaper. So reasonable chance we get burnt out, but again, we just need something to go right. We need to pick up like a Vanguard, a Silverwing Vanguard or a Swiftwing Flight or something so we can make better attacks through this board. Here's a Vanguard. Still feels like we're going to be a little bit short, but we do get to at least hook down Mega Gnar on this attack. Hopefully he doesn't play anything that really kind of threatens Poppy, but it should be tough to do given we have 3 challengers. I just don't feel like the 3 challengers are enough to really punch through on this board. Maybe we just do something like this.
I mustn't stop.
Well, we're going to have to attack with 1 more. Unfortunately, he would just put the Shark Trainer in front of Poppy. Oh no, our Fleet Feather Tracker doesn't get to grow on this board. Shit. We're just fucked. Our Poppy's too small. Okay. Damn. Odd match. It's like it felt like we were like right at the edge of turning that around, but the Bard Chimes were just a little bit too big. Not curious how many we actually hit that game. It feels like we didn't hit any. I know we played 1 bird. I think he played 1 or 2 birds, but having the double stat hit on Gnar was a real pain point. Not being able to either to take him down with like a single challenge. But on to the next one. The battles with Pantheon. Again, we have to kind of watch out for things like Ram Stance coming at us. We do end up with a lot of these boards to where we have just like a lot of 1 health units. And so got to be a bit careful in those terms, but I think we'll be fine. Nice little curve again. Not always the hugest fan of just like dropping Poppy on turn 4, but not a bad 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's a big boom. Taking that 6 right to the nug. This is one of these spots to where you probably just have to drop Poppy on 4. The Bannerman is something we want to be playing quickly, and it gets pretty awkward if you grow the whole team. And then everybody's grown, you play Poppy, and then she doesn't get to do anything when she attacks. So opponent's just not doing anything, though. This is the just actual disaster of a turn, having no plays through the first 3 turns. Their mulligan just had to have been completely terrible. Ready, set, slam. All right. I can't imagine losing this one. I know we're not supposed to say that kind of thing anymore, but man, it just seems so far ahead. Here we're looking at the Fleet Feather Tracker following up with the Vanguard Bannerman. And then being ready to boom next turn. We can ignore his attack. Like, I'm not opposed to blocking the Blinded Mystic. I guess there is a world where we may want to. Oh, I guess we're going to be playing the Sharp Sight. Oh, that's just a stun. I thought that was like a single combat or a cataclysm coming at us. I don't care about Poppy being stunned here. All right, ready for combat. This has been one of these sets. It's like, we came out here, we put together our awesome spreadsheet. Everyone looked at the spreadsheet and loved it. And then you have to come out here and like you run into some off-meta stuff like this. This is like the concept I like to call the long tail, right? When we're kind of designing our lineup, we're really looking for it to either be really good and strong against like those top 3 and 4 decks, which I think we've done pretty good here with. I think we have a pretty good setup to where we're really good against Twisted Fate Nami, really good against Scouts, looking to ban just some of the control decks in the format, and then ideally we get to do stuff like ban Aphelios. But as we kind of like looked at those charts, you would see places as to where a lot of these decks just fail against some of the stronger decks of the format, and I really like it when we're good against the tail, right? I don't have the Balco chart up here, but the kind of bottom end of the meta and the off meta stuff. That's where we were always really happy to have decks like Fizz Riven, right? Their top deck matchups was all like 48 to 52% win rates. They were all like super tight and close, real coin flippy, but against kind of like deck number like 15 down, it just annihilated everything. And so it was one of those really great decks to bring into Gauntlet, because you do play into such weird meta type stuff. Now here, this one is interesting. We're never going to ban out this Fizz Lulu. I don't know what's actually going on here with Fizz Lulu, but this isn't going to get the ban. I do worry a bit about Jace Lux, because the numbers are a bit weird with Jace Lux, right? If we take a look at the Jace Lux, it's down here. It looks pretty abysmal, especially for the Poppy deck and the Illaoi deck. But that's kind of in part the big Lux Jace, right? The ones that's playing a real mid-rangey kind of game. The kind of hot Lux Jace decks these days are the ones that are playing the Boom Baboon package. But I don't think we can risk it. I think there's enough elements of the kind of mid-rangey Lux Jace that we just can't leave it up. The matchups are too bad. We can take some of these like slightly unfavorable matchups against Twisted Fate to just get that thing out of here. And all right, and here I think we have to try and battle with Illaoi twice. I don't really like running the Illaoi decks into the Noxus decks. It's just a pretty poor matchup, and so I want to have a chance with this thing twice. It's a winnable match by all means, but it can be real painful trying to deal with their shenanigans, if you will. Not a great start. I'm happy enough with the Tentacle Smash Illaoi, because we can just like ideally not play anything on either turn 1 or turn 2. Hopefully we get to Tentacle Smash and Annie on turn 3, and then we're ready to go with Illaoi on turn 4. Just picking up the Concerted Strikes is bad in the sense that we don't really want to be starting with 5 drops, and then it's also doubly bad in the sense that it's just not a good card against Twisted Fate Annie. So it's basically, this would be like playing Magic and starting with a 5-card hand. Is basically we're starting with a 2-card hand. All right, there's the Annie. We'll be ready with the Tentacle Smash next turn. Hopefully things will start turning around from that point. You just find yourself in really odd spots with the Tentacles against these decks that have Scorched Earths and Disintegrates. It's really tough to find a place where the maximum amount you want to grow a Tentacle before you just stop. Definitely a matchup to where you can't just be all in and loading these Tentacles up to 10 and 12 and 14. It feels like you have to stop around like 6 or 7 or so. All right, well, we get a fairly uncontested Illaoi happening here. That's not bad.
Like a fish in water.
Truth better. Truth is no betting.
Fairly interested in tentacle or in single combating this Zap Sprayfin. So we'll see what opponent does in terms of spreading out damage. It looks like this is going to be a Scorched Earth coming in on Illaoi. But that makes me feel like a little bit better about just playing the single combat this turn, getting the zap off the board, and then open attacking next turn. He's not having any of that.
Test yourself. Not sure.
Okay, we'll see what comes about. This may just be like a zap block onto Illaoi, but here comes a Scorched Earth. Okay. At least prevent our tentacle from getting damaged, and then I'm going to look to blue card with Twisted Fate. We need to find another Illaoi, or we need to find a C's friend. whatever the dude is that passes out overwhelms to our tentacles. C's friend, C's witch, C's voice. There we go. Jarvan ready to party, though. Should we be doing this? Well, you can still just summon the Jarvan next turn. And do we want to be here?
My shield is yours.
Like, we need to be opening next turn. We can Tentacle Smash. Well, do we want to Tentacle Smash to open and maybe get in 7, or do we want to end up trying to Golden Aegis next turn? If we bank the 3, we can, like, Jarvan plus Aegis and get in 2 attacks. That's probably the safer way to go about it, as opposed to just trying to get these 3 damages in with the Tentacle.
My steel is yours.
Jarvan coming to party. This should be fairly awkward for him, right? He needs to deploy some amount of stuff, right, to try and stop this board. Doesn't have great means to do it. Okay, not real excited about the House Spider coming in. Just we don't have any overwhelms, it shuts everything down. All right. Please be safe, Jarvan. Please be safe. We need some work out of you. So he needs to have like a ping disintegrate, or if he deals a damage here, he can follow up with Scorched Earth. Oh, this is going to suck, isn't it? He has a disintegrate play. No, we needed something to go right. It didn't, but we needed something to go right with this matchup. We are still rallied for the turn, though. See if anything comes of this. So we can add the Broadwing in. It doesn't have really compelling attacks, but I think we still need to be sending everyone. So we'll probably just punch in 2 damage with the Bright Steel. Then we can get some potential damage next turn with the Eye of Nagakaboros. But I think we're going to be a little bit short of the lethals we want. Okay. What do we got? A Cataclysm. No overwhelms to be found. There's an Illaoi. She doesn't exactly do a ton here, but
My steel is
let's lead with an attack. It's like we have to have like this kind of work with the Illaoi, growing tentacle, and then a cataclysm. We do at least have like a pretty healthy life total here, so we do have a bit of time, but need something for these to go right. Okay, just growing the tentacle here, not sending it towards any of his units. Then we'll see if we could get something pieced together next turn. Well. I hate with this, it's so hard to see. You can't see how much damage is actually going on to any of these things. So it's like, this is the dumbest shit ever. Hang on. Looks like we have one. Oh, these are dealing 4 apiece, so we're probably not going to survive any of this. We're at 1, 2, 3 coming into our tentacle. I'm trying to see if we can save stuff with Shield of Durandi or Sharp Sight. I don't think we can. But what is this? We have 1, 2, looks like 3 coming in on our Bright Steel. How much is coming in on Illaoi? There's 1 here. Now this is fucking ridiculous. Looks like she has 8 damage coming on her. Alright, turns out Illaoi's not dead now. I don't like to talk too much trash. I know Runeterra has come quite far, especially in terms of adding these number things to the left, the Oracle's Eye, but some of that still needs a bit of work.
Defeat is acceptable.
Alright, but that's kind of what I expected out of this match. That's why I wanted to play the Illaoi deck twice. I feel like if we'd picked up an Overwhelm generator somewhere along the way, we might have been able to pull off a victory in there, but they just never showed up. We lost our early Illaoi, and then their deck is just too good against this go tall single unit strategy. And so fine enough to not win it, but I definitely feel good about getting 2 shots with this deck. But now we should be up against whatever our opponent's weaker choice is here. Gonna hang on to Answered Prayer because we already have Illaoi, but is Lulu. I mean, I would imagine that this is a like Yordles and Arms deck. I think that's what we would be doing if we were playing with these cards. This would be like Yordles. I'm trying to remember. I feel like in the past in Yordles and Arms we tended to play like Poppy. I don't entirely remember.
Are you ready? Let's take it for a spin.
But yeah, seeing the Bomber Twins come down, I'm pretty confident that this is Yordles and Arms.
There's nothing a good giggle can't fix.
Feeling kind of bad about not playing the Answered Prayer now. I thought I was just kind of like seeing this hand where we're really built up with the Illaoi and the Golden Aegisuses and wanting to have the mana, but gonna really regret not having that 5/3 on the board now. This should still be okay though. Turtles in Arms. This is one we brought to seasonals last season. Had a lot of good battles with the Yordles in Arms. So did we even bother with Illaoi here? I'm not super excited about it. I think I would prefer to build up to this like Bright Steel Protector Illaoi turn on our turn 6 and be a little bit safer and then be ready with the Golden Aegiuses incoming on the next turn. Can we just give up on this yet? We have to like Tentacle Smash something. Or I guess we can just play Illaoi.
Truth, Terra. Truth is no burden.
Let's see where he stops. I don't intend to attack this turn. It's a pretty big disaster for us to attack with Illaoi. He blocks with one of these 3 attack units, and then he gets excited. It's our Illaoi. And so I'm not really looking to get her into combat. I think we just want to pass. And then we're set up for the big combo turn after this one. He's got a Yordle and Armus, isn't he? Oh, he didn't go for the Poros. That's kind of interesting. We just dead to Yordles and Arms? The big thing, let's see. We had 3 units on the board. If he gets in with, this would be 3, 6, 7, 8, 17 exacties. Fuck. Oh, I think that we still need to go for the lookout route. We can, I guess, go for like, no, the Tentacle Smash doesn't get us enough units on board.
Let us meet dark skies with bright souls.
Mm-hmm. $12, 17 exacties. Yeah. We played this game poorly. That one was on us. But interesting seeing the Yordles and Arms come back out to battle. This has been off the radar for a bit. This was one of these decks that was we played it because it was good against the likes of Yuumi Pantheon, but it really scares me in the sense that there's so much AoE in the format right now, and trying to play a lineup based on a bunch of 1 health units, right? As you're out there with, like, when we're playing with 1 health units coming out of our Draven burn deck, we don't really care if they die, right? It's nice to, you know, punch in a point of damage with a Boom Baboon or something, but when you're playing with the when you're playing with the Yordles and Arms, you have to get those units on the board, and so it's pretty scary playing in a format full of Twisted Fates and Make It Rains and a bunch of ping spells. But was good enough to get the victory against us. Here, both of our decks are really strong against the likes of tokens. I don't feel like this Illaoi matchup is going to be super awesome for any of our decks, but we should be able to 2-0 the token stack. But we'll start off with Burn. I'm curious if he brings out the Illaoi deck first. I don't really want to be playing Illaoi mirror matches, and so I'm just starting with the Burn deck here. Okay. Reasonable enough start. You gotta watch yourself here. We're on the even attacks, and you don't want to be discarding your Reborn Grenadiers on the first turn to Zaunite Urchin. You can. You're just cycling, but be really careful watching if you have the attack token, because I have more times than I'd like to admit cycled the Grenadier onto board on the first turn, and then said, "Hey, why aren't we attacking? Why can't we hit with this thing?" But great start. See if he drops an Emperor's Diaz on us. We just get to blast for 6.
The desert by my side.
Okay. Is he going to Shape Stone us? Sometimes these people play Shape Stone. Not right now. Not just yet. More Grenadiers. Okay, we're about to slay this board. there's no other ways to put it. They have to attack to get their Diaz going, and we just have all the tools we need with the Grenadiers. If he doesn't attack with all 3, then we do get to still generate this Spinning Axe and come in for a crush next turn. We'll see. Even if he has, like, the spell, he is playing Shapestone. He didn't play it last turn. This is fine. We lose our Draven, which is a bit unfortunate, but we get to slam for 1,000,000 damage on this attack. So we will be playing the Baboons, though. I don't feel like we need to open. If he plays something big enough to block our Risen Rider, then we can switch to just moving in a Flame Chompers and pull that unit to the side.
Check out these heroes.
Okay. If he has another shaped stone for our Risen Rider, kind of sucks, but we'll be blasting through either way. I would assume he's going to be putting blocks in front of our 3/1s and then taking 12.
Spears ready.
Oh, you're in for it.
Sweet. Now he's in decimate range.
Focus. Focus.
Okay. Let's bring in all the combat tricks. You don't usually see this many combat tricks coming out of tokens. I have to remember that for the next game. It's one of those things where playing seasonals, we would just kind of know, right? Because it's open deck list and you get to see all their combat tricks. But here up against
And not to forget, but to remember.
standard games, we don't quite get that. We're just taking all this damage this turn. I'm gonna get excited to face. He's too far away from lethal. Right? Is he too far away? What are we taking? 4? Okay. I don't think we have to get excited this Greenglade duo, but let's wait and see how much damage this is.
Never see us coming.
12, fall to 4. Okay. So he's only got one card in hand. They sometimes play denies. Like, can we really envision this guy playing deny when he's played all of those combat tricks? I think that's kind of hard to do. Now that we picked up Mystic Shot, we can kill him on his next turn. So let's see if we can't get him to spend some mana before we drop the Decimate, but I assume that this game should be done. Okay. GG. All right, Draven Burn doing its thing. Okay. Let's see if we get the Illaoi mirror match. Lots of Illaois from the Illaois coming at you. Okay, tokens part 2. So what do we got? We're never keeping Jarvan. I don't really want Answered Prayer. Twisted Fate does have some kind of usage in this deck. I think we may need to hang on to him. Just like when you go into your turn 4 and you're able to AoE away like Greenglade duos, I think that's what we're going to be looking for. And this is a pretty reasonable start. We can play nothing on 1, bank that mana, Broadwing on 2, smash on 3, Twisted Fate on 4. All seems reasonable. Let's see what he's got. That's not a unit. Right, incoming Tentacle Smash. This isn't looking like a spectacular Twisted Fate, but I did feel pretty good, right? The way that they're really going to be able to boom us would be like in that previous game to where he where he hit us with the Green Glade duos. That's where the scary piece was coming in. So. Alright, it's not bad. I assume he's just never attacking with a Zir here. We can block some of his stuff. Again, we do have to worry a little bit about like shape stones and combat tricks, but we're still good to interact with this board. We can tentacle smash a Zir next turn still and feel pretty good about it. Okay, we still get a 3-3 out of this.
Check out these.
Works for me. Sparring Student's another unit we like to take down with Twisted Fate, but these turns are great, right? He's got empty board now. He probably doesn't really want to attack with a Zir. We need to get a little bit of something going. We need some more growth on our side of the board, but I don't think he's going to be happy with how this is panning out up to this point. He does at least have an attack with a Zir. We can block the token with Illaoi, but
I can learn from watching you.
okay. He's going to hit with Sparring Student. We're going to block with the Tentacle. We lost our Tentacle block.
Emperor, I am honored.
Okay. Right, this is going to be a 4-attack Sparring Student now. He's out of mana, though. It's fairly tempting to just put Illaoi in front of the Student. That's probably a little greedy. But I mean, do we ever lose this game if he's just like not chunking this damage in? He's like so far away. I think this is fine. We have a backup Tentacle in hand. I'm looking at the idea of opening with Steve just to clear out the Sparring Student. This is the turn we would have to do it. Broadwing's too good. Okay. Then we can protect all of our stuff with these Bright Steels.
I've got your back.
Interesting, he's no playing cards. I wonder if he's just going to come at us with like another Homecoming.
My shield is yours.
Interesting.
Honor guide me.
Test yourself.
All right. Well, his blocks all suck. Like he can put Dunekeeper in front of something. I don't care. He can play like a Shaped Stone onto a Zir and take down the Tentacle. I don't care. We're getting really good growth here.
Just like you practiced.
Okay.
Send in sky, past and
Zir flips can be a little scary, but I think we're still okay. It's down to 2 cards, and we have a Concerted Strike.
Hey, Krabby.
my resting face.
No mercy for those who desecrate our home.
They will find our lands do not take well to intruders.
All right, so Irelia's not flipping forever. She doesn't have the tools for that. I think we're stuck just dropping Twisted Fate on this turn and shutting down the Green Glade duo. And then if we can just survive into the next turn, I think we'll be okay. So let's just go ahead and red card. Oh man, like how bad is this though if he has a combat trick? We have 7 mana. Maybe we just do it with the Concerted Strike instead. So we come in for 3 damage, and so even if he has the Absolver isn't enough to protect the Green Glade duo. I don't think we're dead here, but this is pretty scary. He's gonna hit the blade dance. I think we just have to take the damage from the blades. It's gonna be 4, take us to 14. And then we just have to be looking to say block Azir. Oh. We probably have to take these blocks while we can. As long as we end the turn with like the tentacle and the Illaoi, then we're okay-ish. Looks like there's only 16 coming in with a block from our Broadwing onto Azir. No, there'll be an additional token. We can block the token with Illaoi, though. That's a lethal, isn't it? F. Okay. All right, Illaoi. Well, you got to do some work this turn. This is a scary place for you to be. The Buring lookout. Maybe we can wait until next turn. Like, how bad is it if this Aurelia gets to pop off? We have a couple of options here, right? We can just hit with the 4/4 Illaoi and see where that gets us. But the question is, can we Twisted Fate, take off his 2 smaller units, and then not die to Irelia next turn, right? Irelia is actually pretty scary. She's going to flip. We might be able to react with a rally, but our other option is, what if we just gold card Irelia? He's only drawn 1 card. I think we can probably ignore it. Then the question is, can we beat Sparring Student plus the Green Glade duo? And I think we probably can. So I'm going to try and take out the Irelia. He's picked up a combat trick. We were just kind of hosed either way. But if he's just drawn a unit or a landmark or something, this should be decent. Wow, that was a draw. That was certainly a draw. Okay, well, we still get to attack with Illaoi. He's not big enough to get a kill onto her. This will leave her with 1 health at the end of combat. Brutal draw. Okay, so we're at least wide enough now to where we can block all of his stuff. And then we don't just get killed by the Green Glade duo. Gotta be fucking kidding me. Just the actual draw perfects. Okay. Okay. Alright. On to the next one. I still think that was a good angle, right? We definitely can't beat Irelia on the next turn. We didn't have a lethal built up for that turn. And so taking the shot at taking down Aurelia, I think, is the way to go. Them top-decking Azir and then top-decking into a Blade Dance is, I guess, something we're willing to have happen. It could have happened in either direction, but, you know, I think at that point with the gold card play, you're probably like an 85% favorite to win the game. And I don't think losing it there takes away from that. Alrighty, though. On to the Illaoi Udyr. See what we can do. Alright, so we'll hang on to the Sea's Voice. Make sure we have some early game stuff to do. No tentacle slams, no interactivity. It's okay. I'm looking at, say, like playing the Watchful Idol in the Broadwing, and then probably looking to play very defensively around the Shield of Durrandi. Again, like when we were playing against Udyr Pantheon earlier, and they're coming at us with Freylord, it's a deck that strikes me as maybe having a couple of copies of what's it called? A couple of copies of Three Sisters, but I don't really expect them to be bringing a bunch of Frostbites at us. But here, I want to bank this 3 for our shield. We can play Illaoi next turn, and that leaves us in a pretty decent spot. Scargrounds, not on my radar.
Patience, cautious, and quiet. This is our way.
Okay, nothing too scary coming out of these stances. We can just, like, dome next turn. If we want to say I open with the eye, get a hook with the Broadwing. I think I like it. Tentacle Smash doesn't feel like it changes anything. Right, we're just super far ahead on Tentacles now. He has his Eye of Nagakaboros, but we get to back up with Shield of Durandi. Looks pretty good. Alright, we'll have to see about Concerted Striking this turn. You do have to be careful with the Scargrounds. Since you'll play the Concerted Strike, the first thing will deal damage, the second thing will not. Well, I'm sorry, it'll deal damage, but it has to deal damage through a tough. That's not enough to stop him from winning the game. So we're going to play something this turn. I just want to see what he's going to do before we play that something. It's a full mana Answered Prayer. What's his angle here? We can just hook the Tentacle out of combat.
Let us meet dark skies with
Okay.
bright souls.
So we definitely get to play around like at Three Sisters here. If he has something like Harsh Winds, I guess you got us. Oh, the Scargrounds Watchful Idol combo, eh? I see what you're doing there. Alright. Looks like a GG. Mark it a W or bust. Okay. Oof. Whew. Nagakaboros smiles upon victory. You got it right. You got it right. Oh, not surrender. Oh, get that out of here. Okay. Next battles. Let's see if we can't give you all the full Gauntlet experience here. Just get the full set of 9 matches or whatever it is this time. But here, up against these, this is kind of awkward. Like, it's interesting seeing the Anivia deck turn up without Shadow Isles. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I think it's going to be AoE heavy, but manageable. I do worry about the likes of coming in up against sea monsters. If you want to look at the old chart, it can give us a bit of problems through the Draven Sion deck. I guess the other matchups do tend to be okay between both of the Demacia decks, but it feels like kind of a weak point. I'm not really excited about playing against Darkness. I think the Illaoi matchup into Darkness is okay, but it's something that the Draven deck doesn't really want to play against. I guess he has like 2 options here that are both pretty good against Draven, and I think if we have to play against one of these options, we would rather just play against sea monsters. And so let's ban out Darkness. He leaves Draven in. Interesting. Well, he's going to be the one we start with twice, right? We have kind of a coin flip matchup into it with Bard. And so if we can play it into Anivia and win, or if we can get 2 shots with it against sea monsters, I feel better just having the Bard deck as our backup deck. Rather play Bard against anything. Okay. So we managed to come in and spike the Anivia deck. Again, not real sure what he's trying to do here. You usually see Anivia with Shadow Isles, but I assume that they're going to have a bunch of AoEs. We're probably going to be running into Blighted Ravines and Avalanches and Anivia herself. And so I did want to come out here and try to find a way to just get maximum aggression going. We can punch for 5 here. I think I want to just get the Fallen Rider going, though. And then look to open attack on turn 3 with him. And then if the coast seems kind of clear, we may go for a Draven instead on turn 3. We can get Draven, get the Spinning Axe, then play the Reborn Grenadier. But kind of want a little bit more information on what this guy's actually doing. Troll Scavenger. What the fuck? He's got a big boy in hand. Is he playing? Is this like a Feel the Rush deck? Huh. Alright, well this is a big turn to go for it. I'm just going to play Draven and look to chunk in a ton of damage. If he, he can definitely have an Avalanche here. If he has an Avalanche, we just lose the game. But this feels like our biggest chance to just get in a bunch of damage here. Attacking for 2 and getting a trade with the Troll Scavenger doesn't feel like how you win a game. Okay. Big damage squad coming at you. Expected. Curious if he blocks with the stones. He doesn't. So we're close to lethal now, right? We've got him to 9. We have 5 burn in hand. We do have to watch out for stuff like Catalyst of the Aeons for him to just randomly gain 3 health. But that feels pretty good getting that giant smash in. Okay, again, he can't Blighted Ravine us, but he could play something like a Avalanche. Discard 1. Where are you at, Flame Chompers? You're going to help us get this last 3 damage in. But this is pretty much the stage of the game to where you're just never going to win a combat. And so I have to assume that we can just hopefully punch in as much damage as we can from this point forward. It's like, I'm going to be curious if he has something like a Troll Chant. Doesn't seem like a Troll Chant kind of deck, but interested to see if that comes up. If it doesn't, he's tapped out. Feeling pretty good now. Decimate. Mystic Shot. Death. Good job, Burn deck. Still curious what's going on with this thing. I was not expecting to see things like Ice Veil Archer come down. Like, what's the reason for playing something like this is instead of just playing like Trundle Feel the Rush or Caitlyn Trundle? I don't like. I understand Anivia to a degree, but like the Anivia combos come out of Shadow Isles. That's where you get like the resurrection things and things like the harrowing. I don't understand the Frey Lord only. But he's definitely playing ramp stuff. I was going to say, let's see if we can't find a way to get some early challengers to try and take down his Weirding Stones. I assume he's playing the 2-drop as well. And so we'll go for heavy for Bird, and we'll keep the Bird, but go heavy for Fleet Feather Trackers and for the 2 and 3 mana challengers. Two chimes, like a pro. You ramped, so he's got a big boy in hand. Have to play the Vanguard Sergeant to get our Challenger. And let's see what happens from here. Fuck. That's not ideal.
I'll protect the villages.
So do we actually look to play a Golden Aegis next turn? It's kind of... I'd really like to get the Faces of the Old Ones off the board, but we do have a little bit of time, right? The scary cards that he has are going to cost 8. Like, I guess he could be playing a Nivea, and that would be less than ideal, but I think we'll get a good round next turn. Just going for the width. Pick up the double bird. Shit, so he's going to be at 8 next turn. That lets him do stuff like play It That Stairs. We're just going to be a little bit short. Damn. Oh, cold resistance. Interesting. Well, he's not going to be at 10 next turn, and he can't feel the rush next turn. But like I think we need to just start playing Golden Aegiuses. Want to get this ramp off of the board, and then we can at least kind of refill if he has a big AoE. Alright, so he'll be at 8 mana again. He can do some stuff, like It That Stairs would be kind of awkward, but I don't know, it worked last turn, I guess. You didn't have it last turn, it should be tough to have this turn. Well, I guess he does have it.
Every work demands a piece of ourselves.
All right. So how can we go about trying to win this? We have an Aegis. That's just where we're going to have something go right. We have 8 mana, a Swiftwing Flight. I'll pick up the cheap unit now, but if we can hook It That Stairs out of combat, hook another small unit out of combat, we may be able to pull something off. Tryndamere causes problems. So, like, the idea that I did have was he's just going to play something that isn't that isn't Tryndamere. We can punch in for a couple of points of damage and then re-attack and come in for the other remaining 5, but that's kind of off the table now. So we're going to have to... We can go to next turn.
Slight adjustment.
We can look to both Golden Aegis and For Demacia. This is going to be our new way to try and punch in a victory. We can take a big hit from Tryndamere. The Nivea does a 2 damage AoE, right? Okay. So the important thing with this is we can just block It That Stairs with something. We can take the Tryndamere hit, and then we can take 2 from a Nivea, and then still survive this stuff. So we have a 7/7 that can block a Nivea and then survive. We'll just put our... Oh, he didn't attack with It That Stairs. That's all we have to do. Interesting. I think we might have clawed out of this one.
A little reinforcement at the seams.
Okay. Give it one of these. Bring these two in. Says we're coming in for 20. We might have squeaked that one out. Oh, the stupid egg can block? And, when did they change that? When did the egg become a blocker? Interesting. I thought the egg used to have a mobile or whatever it's called. Huh. All right. Well, we're on the way to the final battle. Let's see if we can't crush somebody's dreams into getting into seasonals. I don't even know at this point. I don't know how quickly all of the slots fill up, but well, we'll try to shut them out, you know. And so, interesting set. Echo Zillion, I'm pretty happy to play our entire squad against. Right, that's one of these decks down here that we post under the it's not so bad matchups. Right, if he. We just have great stuff against it, let's say. And so we're happy enough to leave it up. I think, like, no champion deck is probably just a burn deck, which I'm not excited about playing against, but it's probably okay. I'm not sure what PNZ Twisted Fate is supposed to be, though. I think I'm okay with battling it. It's just, like, no immediate themes are coming to mind. It's probably a bunch of, like, cycle stuff and Twisted Fate, but... let's just ban out this no champion thing. God, it just feels like such a weak option, though. Like, if you're playing a burn deck, why aren't you at least adding in Annie or something, right? She's one of the premier early game things. All right, we'll ban out Twisted Fate. Probably need to lead off with Bard, though. If the Bard matchup is kind of weak against Echo Zillion. Still wish I knew what this, like, has to just be a burn deck, right? PNZ no champion? PNZ Noxus with no champions? Oh, we just win. Okay. Maybe he was doing the same thing as to where he was just trying to ruin someone's day, but he is on the happier side of things. He says, no, I will not deny someone a seasonal's birth. I'll just jump in here and concede. And so I'm curious with what that was, though. I think I'm okay with that strategy as to where we leave up Echo Zillion. We have a lot of good matchups against it. PNZ no champion seems like a burn deck, which we're pretty happy enough to take a bunch of challengers into, or the burn deck of our own. I feel like we're pretty well matched up against that. And then, I don't know, the Twisted Fate wildcard kind of thing. It just has to be like a turbo level up Twisted Fate kind of deck, but it's just so odd not seeing other champions or anything attached to it. It's like the idea is that the champions are just so much more powerful than all the other cards in the game. Like, if your strategy doesn't revolve around playing something like Sion or Galio or Aurelion Sol, where they're just so super expensive, like, why aren't you just playing 3 copies of both champions and then, or at least branching out into something like we do where, you know, Jarvan is expensive. Let's just play 2 copies of Jarvan and then maybe 1 copy of Twisted Fate. But interesting stuff. And so that one was not, you know, as successful as I would like a lot of our games to go, but we didn't play too perfectly in there, and we did come up with a lot of things to kind of think about and move forward with. And so one thing I am looking to do in the upcoming days, we will play a bit of Poppy Tarek. I'll make a video for it, so life isn't just these 3 decks. You have a little bit of a break in there, so we'll touch on it. I don't think it's the kind of deck I want to switch over to, but the option's got to be there. Then the other thing I'm going to look at is with our Poppy Bard deck. I'm going to look to fit in some interactivity, either single combat or cataclysms. I don't like playing this deck that the only interactivity is combat tricks. It's like my thing with combat tricks is you look at something like Magic, and well, it applies to Runeterra as well, but it's always just like a big tempo play, right? You're looking to like get into combat. I have my 3 mana unit battling your 3 mana unit. They're both 3/3s. They're going to trade. I play a combat trick. Now I trade my 1 mana for your 3 mana and get to preserve my good unit. I just feel like with the amount of value that comes in a game like Runeterra, and that the power level difference between the champions and the rest of the cards, that it's just a little bit more important to have the interactivity. And so we do already have a bunch of interactivity in the challengers, but that only works through half of the game. And I'm not fully suggesting that we just get rid of all the combat tricks. I still think there's a place for things like Sharp Sight that let us kind of break the rules a bit and block block elusives, and then also give us things to do with our spell mana if we have to play a bit off curve, and give us ways to protect Poppy. Like, I'm not saying that they're completely irrelevant. I just feel like we're probably playing too many, and so I'm going to look to say do things like not play Shield of Durandi, and then look to more towards say like playing Cataclysms, which work with Poppy and they work with Bard to a small degree, or look to also playing like single combats or concerted strikes. It's like a little bit of something that lets us interact outside of combat. But otherwise, I was pretty happy with how the lineup has been working. The Draven deck just crushing. Feels like a fantastic deck for this meta. I'm surprised it's not getting banned more, but I like that we have Draven. I like that we are playing double Demacia, but they have different angles of attack, whereas Illaoi Jarvan is a go tall, smash you with one unit deck, where Galipopio Bard is a width-based style deck. And so, yes, like the factions and the Golden Ages is kind of overlapped, but the strategies don't. And so it feels like we're playing 3 distinct decks and not playing 3 copies of the same deck with different champions. And so, yeah, pretty happy with this. I feel like unless there's some kind of like big meta shakeup over the next week, this is probably what we'll be doing battle with in seasonals. And so gear up, get ready to watch all these decks because we're going to play a lot of them over the next week. But nonetheless, that will do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you learned how to smash them up with the burn spells a little bit better. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.